Wow. The Lord knew when she wrote that song, I don't know how many years ago, what it was going to do and what it was going to mean. I don't know about you. How many of you need his peace? Yes, I say this all the time to people. You know, truthfully, if we understood that we had his peace, we wouldn't worry about anything. Like, nothing would bother us. Like, no matter what happened today, no matter what you were told, no matter what anything, you would be totally fine. And, you know, the Bible is so clear that he's given us our peace. You know, we taught our kids growing up when they would get up in the morning, and if Bree was here, she would tell you this, that we would say, you need to say from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, Lord, I pray for your peace every day when they got up. And Bree told me not long ago, she goes, Mom, you have no idea how much that has carried me, because there's been so many times when she's been in the middle of something. And she just says, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, Lord, I thank you for your peace. You know, peace is an amazing thing. When we first started here out at G5, we only had a few people. There was just like a few of us. I think there was, honestly, Jennifer, there was more people on stage than there were in the seats. I talked about it Sunday. We had our little string lights, and we just had very minimal. And it's funny when something happens and you mark it in a place, you remember it. And I remember walking, when you come up the road right there, there's like a curve. And I remember walking out there, and I called a lady. It was a family that had been coming here. And I just called her because we had not seen them in a while. And so I was just concerned and caring for them. And I called her and I said, hey, I just want to let you know that you've really been on our hearts, and we miss you, and we'd love to see you again. And there was like a silence for a second. And then basically I got reamed after that. This person goes, oh my gosh, who do you think you are? You're constantly concerned about us. You're always asking about us, and you're worried about that we didn't show up. And, you know, we do have a life. And she just went off on me. And it's weird because I can remember that spot when I was, you know what I mean, where you stand and something happens. And she just slammed the phone down and hung up. And so I called PT, and I'm like, okay, am I crazy? What did I just do wrong? And anyway, him and I started talking, and he's like, hey, you got to let this go. You can't take it on. You can't blah, blah, blah. So I remember standing there, and I remember thinking, I remember teaching our kids, God, I pray for your peace from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. And so I walked the curve back and forth, and I just kept saying, I pray for your peace from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. Lord, I give this to you. I didn't do anything, but I know the enemy wants me to take this on. And I walked and I walked and I walked, and about 4 different times, and it was like God's peace just, whew. And I will never forget the feeling of just going, okay, let it go. God's got this. He's in control. I got to make sure I can see y'all. I'm like, yeah, wait a minute. Anyway, it's funny how, not funny, but it's amazing how God's peace is such a comforting thing. And before we talk about the fact that literally peace of mind first starts in our mind, I want to talk about this scripture, and it's in John 14:27. And PT did a talk the other day on peacemakers, but I want to talk about this. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give it to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. My peace I give to you. I do not give you to as the world gives to you. Now, I'm going to be real honest with you. My mind flashes back when I think of the world's peace. I'm just going to be honest. This is me growing up. My dad loved watching the Miss USA and the Miss America pageants, right? Oh, my gosh. He would even get the little tablet out, and he would score. I'm like, oh, my gosh, who are you? But this is the thing I remember. Do you guys remember this? At the end, when they did the little interviews, and they would ask him a question, they would say, I just want world peace. Right? The other day, Miss Congeniality was on with that movie. I just want world peace. And I remember thinking back, what does that even mean? And no more war, no more anger, no more trouble. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, that's not reality. But I just want world peace. And they thought if they said I wanted world peace, they were going to win, right? No matter what. And I look at this and I want to say, well, good luck with that, because, world peace is, it is what it is. I was talking to a lady the other day, and I was trying to help her. We don't call it counseling anymore. We call it coaching. Because if you come to counseling, you just want somebody to agree with you, and then you can walk away and go, good, I feel good. Coaching is, if you're asking, this is what I always say, if you're asking me, I want to tell you. If you're not asking me, I'm not going to tell you. But anyway, she started talking, and she goes, well, I really feel good about some of the decisions I've made, and I feel like karma is on my side. I promise you, as your pastor's wife. And I said, let me know who karma is. And she goes, what? And I'm like, if you think karma is going to be on your side, I got news for you. No, you need God's peace. You need, karma ain't doing squat. But anyway, I don't know. We had a lady come to our house, and she wanted to help us decorate, which PT and I know how to decorate. And she goes, well, we always say that you shouldn't put your family pictures in your bedroom. It's bad karma. I'm like, okay, you need to leave. I have no idea what planet you're from, but anyway, peace is an amazing thing. This is an incredible thing. I know. I want to say it again. In John 14:27, again it says, my peace I give you. 5 words. My peace I give you. My peace I give you. I know in this generation coming up that you are Instagram, social media, and I love it, texting. But I would encourage you to maybe put that on an index card. I know you won't even know where to find them. They have them at Staples. You can get them on Amazon. Am I right? Walmart. There you go. Wally World. PT still has scriptures on his mirror, because when he gets up, he wants to look at them. But you need to look at this that says, my peace I give you. 5 words. That's all it says. It needs to be in front of you. If all you can do is put it on your phone, put it on your phone. But my peace I give you. My peace I give you. I was listening to a pastor the other day, incredible pastor, love him dearly. And he said that his son had started deciding to be a pilot. And so they've always been parents that go, I'm going to encourage my kids and be a part of what my kids want to do. But he was thinking, could you not have picked something else? No, you want to be a pilot. So he said, I remember the first time I went up with him in the air, and it was like, okay, God, help me, Lord. He goes, we're on this plane, and here I am, a pastor. I know the word of God. I know it all, and we're flying. And he said, then it wasn't long to where my son was like, you should really go up with my pilot and let him teach you. And he was like, okay. We've always taught our kids we would be a part of what they do. Okay. And he said this pilot was like, honestly, had more hours than probably most pilots have ever had. And so he's up on this plane with this pilot, and he said, here I am, God's man, the preacher of the world. And I'm sitting there, and he goes, I'm gripping my seat, and I'm sitting here, and the pilot's flying. And he said, and we dipped for a second into some air, and we came back up, and he looked over and he goes, are you not scared? And the pilot is like, no, not at all. And he said, how are you not scared? He said, because I know exactly what I'm doing. I have peace. And he said, you have peace? He said, yes. He goes, so if all of a sudden this started completely diving down, you would be fine. He goes, yes, I have peace. I know what I'm doing. I'm fine. You're fine. He goes, okay. And he said, it was interesting. He goes, what happens if all of a sudden we had to land? He said, we would land in a field. You would land in a field. You're okay with landing in a field? Yes, we can land in a field. He goes, you have peace about that? He said, I have peace about that. So they keep going, and he keeps going. And he said it was crazy because God hit him with a sack of bricks and said, you're flying with his peace. Why don't you fly with my peace? Oh, it hit me. You're flying with his peace. Why don't you fly with my peace? Because he was completely controlled then, like, oh, okay. But God says, I give you that same peace. It's a gift. This is the thing about peace. Peace is a gift, but it isn't a gift if you don't open it. Ever had a gift from somebody and you never opened it? I know most of you haven't, but when you're a pastor, you get a lot of gifts. I found something the other day. I said, oh, PT, we never opened this. He goes, oh, dear God, you need to call them and thank them. I'm like, babe, they gave it to us 2 months ago. You ever had peace and not opened it? Peace is there, but most of us are so focused on what we're going through versus what he promised, we can't get peace. We're so going through. So I know what you're saying to me right now. This is so great. Mama G, you're lovely. I love this. This is wonderful. So you're telling me that I can have peace even with a report that a doctor gave me? Yeah, you can. Can I put a pause here just for a second? I love doctors. They're the best. We've got nurses, nurse practitioners here. You're Sarah, you're a nurse too, right? Look at you sitting next to each other. Here you are. And I thank God, because I thank God for that. But I will tell you, there's many times when they're going to give you the facts and not God's promises. And I'm just going to warn you to be careful that you don't take that on and go, okay, it's hard, but you go, okay, thank you, but I'm going to walk in God's promise. Because it becomes a fear. It becomes a worry. It becomes everything instead of what God promises. You know, some of you are struggling financially and you're saying, I can have peace. You can. Some of you are not doing so great in your marriage. I can have peace. You can. Some of you are looking for the right man. He's there somewhere, I promise. I can have peace. You can. Some of you are in the middle of a divorce. I can have peace. You can. Some of you are not doing well in your body. I can have peace. You can. You can have peace. There's two things I don't want you to ever forget. Number one, write this down. Perfect peace does not mean no bad days and no heartbreak. Perfect peace doesn't mean no bad days and no heartbreak. And then I want you to write this and don't ever forget it. His peace is not found in the absence of problems. It's found in his presence. I'm going to say it again. His peace is not found in the absence of problems. It's found in his presence. Because God said, I give you my peace, doesn't mean you and I are going to wake up and everything's going to be bonbons and candles. It's not. But we have his presence in the middle of the problem. I say this all the time, and I pray you get it and don't ever forget it. God is not wringing his hands. Whatever you got going on, he's not going, I don't know about this one. This is beyond me. No, not at all. He's not wringing his hands. He's got you. He knows what he's doing. And you and I get to enter this place of peace with worship, prayer, and surrender. Worship, prayer, and surrender. When we put our problems in his hands, he puts his peace in our hearts. When we put our problems in his hands, he puts his peace in our hearts. Second thing is this. Oh, wait a second. Now you're writing. I try to slow down. These poor translators at the 12 o'clock service when I'm preaching, they're like, they aren't happy with me. Can we go? Number 2. His peace transcends our human comprehension. His peace transcends our human comprehension. In Philippians 4:5-7, it says, let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything. That's my favorite. Okay, God, I'll do that. But in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ. I'm going to read it in the TPT. You know me, I got to love the TPT. Be cheerful with joyous celebration in every season of life. Let your joy overflow. And let gentleness be seen in every relationship, for our Lord is very near, ever near. Don't be pulled in different directions or worried about a thing. Be saturated in prayer throughout each day, offering your faith-filled requests before God with overflowing gratitude. Tell him every detail of your life. Then God's wonderful peace that transcends human understanding will guard your heart and mind through Jesus Christ. Transcend. Guess what transcend means? To go beyond the range of limits. To go beyond the range of limits. God will transcend his peace to you, and it will be something you don't understand. How many of you have ever been in a situation where it truly didn't make sense and God's peace showed up and it was like odd? Like, what in the world, right? Well, then you know what? I want you to remember that, because I promise you, when you have something come up, you need to go back and remember when his peace really and truly didn't make sense. And I love the fact that God says he gives us the peace that the world doesn't understand. I'm lately, just in this last week of our lives, I'm amazed at people that are coming out of the woodworks that I would never think that are vocalizing their faith and their stance for the Lord and their understanding of how different Jesus is than the world. And PT and I have been talking about the last couple days of just going, it's just unbelievable what's happening right now, because the world has its view of what peace is, and then God's peace is just so different. And it transcends into something that we don't even understand. And so I think people, lately, God's been bringing a lot of people into mine and PT's life, and I don't throw a scripture down their throat, just so you know. I don't whip out my Bible. I don't go, do you see I have on a cross? I don't do any of that, and he doesn't either. We love them, and we talk to them, and we ask about them. We were at a hotel this week for a day, and our daughter came down to meet us. And one of the ladies, when we go down for breakfast, is like, she's just, she's Hispanic, you Hispanic, I love you. You're just like, whoa. And I need some of your energy. And she was just, every time she sees this, oh my gosh, it's the goose. And she just goes crazy. And she's, PT's trying to sight hug her. And that ain't working, because she just comes. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, babe, you're fine, you're fine. I mean, she just is so, And so we told her about Bree's song. And she came back, we came back the next day. She goes, I just can't even tell you your daughter's song and her voice. And she was just going crazy. So I looked at PT and I said, she's going to freak out, because Bree's with us. Like, she's going to be like, and sure enough, I said, Bree, just get ready. She goes, oh, Mom, really? Because Bree wants no attention. I said, she goes, seriously, Mom? I'm like, babe, I don't know what to tell you. Just get ready. And we walk down, and I'm like, Stephanie. She goes, oh, my God. And she hugs me, and I said, I got a surprise for you. And I said, here's our daughter. She goes, and she's like, she can't breathe. And I'm telling you, I wish I would have videoed, because Bree's like, oh my gosh, what is taking place right now? And she hugs her. Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. And so anyway, she comes out. She sits us down, and she keeps talking. And she said, I had the worst day on Sunday. You just have no idea. And I said, I'm putting on that song Bree wrote, I Will Rest. And she put it on my TV. And she says, I've never been a person to listen to gospel music. And Bree's like, I'm not gospel music, but okay. And she goes, but now I'm a fan. And it's on my play, and I play it all the time, and you have no idea. And so then the other little girl comes up. Her name's Corey, and she's the sweetest little thing. We're introduced her to Bree, and she had the sweetest little spirit. She goes back to the reception stand, and instead of them sitting people, they're listening to Bree's song. And the girl comes back out, oh, my gosh, I just listened to your song. And she said, my mom goes to this incredible church here in Sarasota, and she raised me in the home with worship, but I forgot about worship, and I played your song, and she's in tears, and Bree's just going, I just wanted to have breakfast. I'm like, baby, this is called God using you. You didn't elevate yourself. You didn't do anything. No, Dad and I, truthfully, I don't even know if they know what we do. I don't even know who they know who we are, but we love them, and we bring a peace to them. And that was their words. They kept saying, there's such a peace. You bring such a peace. You bring such a calm. And PT talked on this last week, I think it is, on being a peacemaker. You bring a calmness. And God called us to bring that calmness, not by thumping somebody over the head with the word, or thus saith the Lord, and let me lay hands on you. If you need to pray for somebody, okay, but I'm just telling you, it's your walk. It's your peace that you carry. But if you cannot understand God's peace, then you can't walk in his peace. It's not freedom from disturbance. It's just meaning there's going to be conflict, but you've got stability in the middle of the conflict. God's got a peace. Peace is this. It's a state of mind in which the person may be in difficult circumstances, but it's content, confident with hope, and in a state of being at rest. It doesn't matter what you're going through. I love this. Your storms, your questions, and your fears don't dictate if he exists or not. Your storm, your questions, your fears don't dictate if he exists or not. Don't ever forget this. God's presence is consistent. Is consistent. So let's talk about the peace of mind. Don't you love the mind? One day you love it, one day you hate it. Anybody ever gotten in their mind over something? Well, you got a bunch of women that aren't telling the truth. Seriously. Have you not grown something? Have you noticed that there's a, what do you call Phyllis out there? What's that thing she's on? She's a mannequin. You might ever walk through the breezeway and see the mannequin? It has Phyllis on it, and now she has a wig. So PT and I did a relationship talk, and we were talking sitting up here talking, and he goes, yeah, he goes, I'm telling you, women are something else. You can create like I've never seen. He said, I'll never forget the day that Mama G woke up, and she said, I'm so mad at you. And I hit him across, and he's like, what are you mad at me for? I said, you were flirting with this woman in your dreams. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, oh, you were flirting. I'm telling you right now, you knew exactly what you were doing. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, we talked about it, and a few minutes later, he was talking about something. I'm trying to remember how it goes. He was talking about something, and he goes, well, there was this other lady, and Mama G thought something about her, and I think her name was Phyllis. And I said, that was her name? Her name was Phyllis. In my dream, her name was Phyllis. Phyllis, you were flirting with Phyllis. And he was like, I don't even know a Phyllis. So now Phyllis is in the breezeway on the mannequin. But how many of you know I literally created that in my mind, and I was mad at him and Phyllis for a week. And it was a dream. Am I the only one that's ever done that? Thank you. Like, we create. So therefore, if peace has to do with your thoughts, we got to figure that out. Because peace has to do with your thoughts. Listen to this. Our minds control our thoughts, and therefore they control our day. Your brain has 100 billion, especially women, I think we got 200 billion neurons. Do you realize that part of your brain is assigned now to remember that fact? So I just told you have 100 billion neurons, and now your brain has been assigned to remember that fact. So now you have to think, my brain has a million billion neurons, but what does that mean? Well, the Amazon rainforest has 100 billion trees. You have the same number of neurons in your brain as the Amazon rainforest has trees. And each neuron has as many interconnections as there are leaves on an average tree. Help us, Jesus. The human brain is the most complex physical thing that God ever made. It is the center of memory, of mood, of instinct, of will, of emotion, of decision, of bodily function, the human brain. It is also the seat of individuality and personal history. You train your brain through every experience you go through in life. Everything you go through creates a memory, and those memories have an influence on you, and habits can form as a result. The power of the interpretation is centered in the brain of sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste, constantly feeding your mind with information. The human brain was created in the image of God. It was created to enjoy God, to know Him forever. It was created with a God-word focus, and it was created to know the glory of God in physical creation, the power of your mind. Is that incredible? Isaiah, and I want to read this, Isaiah 26, 1 through 3. In that day, everyone in the land of Judah will sing this song. Our city is strong. We are surrounded by the walls of God's salvation. Open the gates to all who are righteous. Allow the faithful to enter. You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. All whose thoughts are fixed on you. Fixed means to lean on. Become fixed on His truth and promises. But most of us, what we're fixed on, or I should say what we're stuck on, is what's not going right and what hasn't happened. Remember this, what consumes your mind consumes your life. What consumes your mind consumes your life. Guaranteed, 100%. I am a true testimony, both hands and feet raised. What consumes your mind consumes your life. If the scripture says, if you will fix your mind. So, yes, you're going through something right now. Yes, you got a report that's not good. Yes, you've got all these things going on. So what am I supposed to do? Fix your mind on Him. Fix your mind on Him. How cool is it that we're fixing our mind on somebody that has never changed? You think He's changed, but He's never changed. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Fix your mind on Him, because those are the things that are going to control what you think of, what you do, what you handle. I had a young lady come to me the other day, and I'm just going to be very transparent. She laid out a lot of things to me, and I was a little overwhelmed. I was kind of like, Lord, I tell people this all the time. When someone comes to me, my first thing is, as they're talking to me, so if you're talking to me and you think, is she listening? I'm listening, but underneath my breath, I'm praying, Jesus, I pray you give me wisdom, because this is a big responsibility. You're asking me something. And she's talking to me, and it's a pretty heavy thing. And all I kept hearing the Lord say to me was, you just need to pray peace over her. But my human mind said, well, that's too simple. She needs more from me, God. I argued. It's amazing what you can do while someone's talking to you. I can argue with God, argue with me, and smile. It's amazing what you do as a pastor. Okay, Lord. And I kept arguing. That's not enough. It's not enough. And the Lord kept saying to me, I am telling you, I need you to pray peace over this woman's life. So I said, okay. And I said, ma'am, I wish I had all the answers for you, and I don't. But I know this. There is a God who loves you, and he wants you to have his peace. And I'm going to pray. I'm going to put my hand on your head, and don't freak out, but I'm going to go down and put my hand on your feet because I'm praying from the top of your head to the soles of your feet that you have his peace. And she just stood. And I started praying, and the presence of the Lord was so strong. And she walked away, and she was just like, whew. She said, you have no idea how much I needed that. She went that way, I went that way, and I said, God, forgive me for questioning because I thought that seemed so simple. I thought I needed to have a big word from the Lord. And he said, you did. The word was my peace. And she felt it, and she walked away with it. So I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're walking through. But it doesn't have to be some grandeur thing. It's his peace. His peace. My peace I give you. 5 words. 5 words. My peace I give you. And we get to walk in it. We get to quit battling in our minds. You know, the mind, I did a talk for Girl Talk one time called the Mind Field. And if you talk and you go back and look at the research when they had to walk through the minefields and try to avoid stepping on a minefield, we live in a minefield because it's here. Some of you have been in your mind today. I can guarantee it. I can look around and go, I know you're God's daughter. You've been in your mind today. But what he wants to do is have that mind of peace. I was listening to a pastor the other day, and another one that very popular, incredible pastor. Love him. PT listens to him all the time. And he was talking on peace. And he said, I'm going to be very transparent. Now, when I say that, PT gets nervous because I'm very transparent. And I thought, ooh, what's this pastor going to say? But he said, every time I come up to preach, I deal with anxiety because I feel that it's not enough for what my congregation needs, even though I've studied for days. And he said, I battle for peace in my mind before I walk up the steps of that platform. And it was incredible to hear this man. He said, but one thing I know, my peace I give you. And he said, I walk up and I'm like, God, use me, work through me. What do they need to hear? You've given me your peace. I'm going to have peace of mind. This is what I'm going to do. And he walks up. It was encouraging for me, honestly, to hear this because I needed to hear this. I needed to know that not everybody that walks around is, I've been walking with the Lord for a long time. And I will tell you that peace of mind is a daily decision. It is a daily decision. This is in Philippians 4:8-9. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing, fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Keep putting into practice all you learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you. So it says, fix your mind on true, honorable, right, and pure. And if we do these things, then God's peace will be with us. Now, that's easier said than done. I'm just going to tell you right now. And I know you think that the life of a pastor and the pastor's wife is just angels floating behind us with the wings and whatever. And yeah, I got news for you. So we get the opportunity to live this out, like all the time, to constantly be thinking on what is true, what is honorable, what is right, and what is pure. Now, PT is way better at this than me. He brings me in because I'm a woman that gets in her head. And a couple weeks ago, something happened and somebody said something and somebody did something and whoo, I went on a whirlwind. Anybody ever done that? And I wasn't thinking on what was true. I was thinking on, I'm going to wring her neck. I wasn't thinking on what was honorable. I was thinking that was horrible what she did to me. I wasn't thinking on right. I was thinking I'm getting ready to make something right. I wasn't thinking on pure. I was like, I don't feel like being pure. I've said to PT many times, I don't want to be a pastor's wife right now. Please, leave me alone. I just want to tell her like it is. Like, I don't know what they think, right? Am I the only one? I mean, if I thought that, I know you don't think pastors' wives, and maybe I'm the only one, and forgive me. You know what? You're going to get the real me. This is what I say all the time, people that know me. If you hang out your dirty laundry, it dries faster. So I'm hanging it out. I'm just letting you know I wasn't happy. And I was like, oh, he kept going, you need to get your mind fixed on the Lord and what's really true. What's true is that's her brokenness being put on you. Okay? And what's true is that's not being honorable. She doesn't know how to be honorable. Okay? And what's true is that she's really not right. She's just trying to put her stuff on you. Okay? I'm like, do you have to be a pastor all the time? Because you don't want to do it. It's like, but if I stayed fixed on that, I wouldn't be here tonight because I'd still be fixed on that. And you know what's crazy? I don't even know where this woman is. I don't even know where she is. She got her thing, whatever. She just had a thing for me. I don't know what it is. PT always says, oh, they're intimidated by a 4'11" turtle who doesn't like to speak up. Okay, we'll go with that. But what is my point? What we fix our minds on becomes that, and then we can't have peace. We can't walk it. We go through the day and go, I don't understand why there's turmoil and things are affecting me, because we have chosen to stay on that and not on his peace. Let me tell you, these are the things. There are obstacles to your peace, and they do not do well. They're not good company with your peace. They're very quick. I'm going to give them to you. Worry. Oh, well, none of you have ever done that. Fear. Conflict. Our flesh, or should I say my flesh, not yours. You guys are perfect. And doubt. Worry, fear, conflict, our flesh, and doubt. They are obstacles to your peace. And every one of them has been in us at some time in our life. We have worried. This is crazy. So peace, which is shalom, is defined as a condition of freedom from disturbance. Wow. Freedom from disturbance. Shalom means wholeness. Peace means wholeness. Now, I'm going to tell you what. The word worry is derived from an old Anglo-Saxon word, my gosh. I was like, Lord, I needed to know this a long time ago. Guess what the word means? And it's an Anglo-Saxon word meaning to strangle or choke. That's what worry means. To strangle or choke. You know, I see that quote all the time, that worry is like rocking in a rocking chair and feeling like you're going to go somewhere. You worry and it does nothing. You can't do anything about it. And how many times I have choked out God's plan because of my worry. It is, I believe, the number one enemy to your peace. You cannot walk in worry and walk in peace. There's no way you can do it together. Now, please hear me on this. We are all human. God doesn't expect you to get up every day and be this perfect little angel that you're not worried about something. But what we got to do is start seeing it, being aware of it, calling it out, and then claiming God's peace. That's where you have to be. I was telling a good friend of mine today, I just had some health stuff for the last 2 years, and I was waiting on a report from a pretty serious test. And we were in Detroit, PT and I, with some incredible friends of mine, and we were decorating and creating their nursery for them. And It was an exciting time. I loved, you know me. Well, you don't know me, but if you do know me, I love to decorate. And it's the first time I'd ever done a nursery, and I was like, oh, I was in heaven. It was like the best ever. And we're doing this nursery, and I walk in. I'll never forget it. I walked into a Home Goods, my home away from home, and I get a call. And PT's standing there, and he sees the look on my face. And the lady said, where are you? And I said, I'm in Detroit. And she said, well, we have some information we need to go over with you. And I said, this was a doctor. And I said, okay. And she said, but we can't do it over the phone. You have to be in person. This is not something we can do over the phone. And she said, so call us in a week. And I hung up the phone, and I looked at him, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And here we are with these two young that we just love dearly, and they look, and this is who I am. You don't know what goes on in my life. Most people in this church have no idea what I went through in the last 2 years of my life because I don't talk about it and I don't show it. So I was just like, and inside I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like dying. I'm so worried. Like this lady just laid this on me. So PT and I go to the car, and I just looked at him, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And he's like, babe, grab my hand. And I just held his hand. And we just started praying. And he said, what have we taught our kids? From the top of your head to the soles of your feet, peace. From the top of your head to the soles of your feet, his peace. He said, we got his peace. We're walking in this. Let's go to the next store and do what we got to do. We have his peace and we have his promise. And we got out of that car, and they didn't know anything. It was, but I'm telling you, because some of you are walking through some stuff right now. And if you're not walking through it, forgive me, you're going to walk through something. I'm just telling you, we have so much at our fingertips, and we don't even utilize it. We don't assess it. We just walk. You know, we have that sign that we used to have out here that said, have you prayed about it as much as you've worried about it, talked about it? We always use prayer at the end. But I'm just telling you, God is showing me so much in this. My peace is so accessible to you. My peace I give you. My peace I give you. No matter what. There's not a it doesn't say if or maybe. My peace I give you. I give you my peace. I offer it to you, but we don't assess it. You know, we got gadgets at our house. We got all kinds of stuff. Half the time we don't use. I bought a toaster oven about 3 months ago. I told Pete, I'm getting a toaster oven because growing up, my mom used one because then we didn't have to turn the oven on and use all that electricity. You know what I'm talking about? Some of you young people don't know what I'm talking about. But that toaster oven sat in my pantry for 3 months. And I looked at him the other day, and someone had gotten him on Sunday. Seth had gotten him a gluten-free pizza, and he had some pizza left over. And I turned the oven on. I went, why am I turning this oven on for 2 pieces of pizza when I got a toaster oven that takes, but it still had the tape that held the door up. And I got it out, and he goes, where do we get that? I'm like, don't ask. What's my point? It set my pantry for 3 months. We don't utilize what we have. His peace is available. His peace is there. His peace is his gift to you. You can't return it. You can't re-gift it. Well, you could if you wanted. It's his gift to you. And you and I get to use it. You and I get to understand it. Remember this, number 1, his peace transcends all earthly matters. His peace transcends all earthly matters. God's peace transcends craziness, hopelessness, desperateness, everything. His peace completely transcends anything going on in this world. Every terrible situation, everything that's going on, God's peace transcends. Number 2, his peace is the opposite of confusion. His peace is the opposite of confusion. 1 Corinthians 14:33. For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14:33. For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. God is the God of peace. And number 3, I love this. His peace will prevail at the final conflict. His peace will prevail at the final conflict. In Romans 16:20, it says, the God of peace will soon crush Satan under your feet. Woo! Are you loving that? Listen, don't ever forget this. Don't ever forget that the enemy knows where to push your button. Don't you ever forget it. He knows. Sometimes we go, man, the enemy's he's been after me today. Yeah, because he knows exactly where to get you. He knows. We used to do this song with our kids. They laugh about it. I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this. We used to sing this song, and we would say, I wish I had a little red box to put the devil in. I'd take him out and put him back again. And we would have the kids walk around, and Bree, boy, she, like, I'm mad today, Mom. He made me mad. And she'd put him back in that box. And we taught our kids, and some days, not long ago, Bree looked and she goes, Mom, I need that little red box just about now. He knows where to get you. He knows where to let your peace leave because you get so worried and so under conviction. At least you think you're under conviction, but God's grace is so crazy. Don't ever equate trusting God with assumption. You got to write that down. Don't ever equate trusting God with assumption. What do I mean? We assume that a certain outcome is going to happen, and then we don't trust God because it didn't happen the way we thought. Don't ever equate your trust in him with an assumption of what's going to happen. Truthfully, I love us, but why do we think we know more than him? I mean, really, I know that we're self-sufficient and we're strong women. I get that. But why, and I'm the worst at this, why do I question God and the way he's doing things when I don't know what I'm doing? I think I do. I mean, I'm going to be very gut level honest with you right now. We need your prayer. And if you're anyone that prays, I'm asking you to pray for PT and I on Thursday. Starting first thing Thursday morning, we are in a lawyer's office. I didn't know I was going to have to do this. And I'm like, Lord, I've done this one other time. And our lawyer looked and said, remember, you can't show any emotion. And I always say, then why are you bringing me? But he's bringing me. And we're going into mediation because they're coming through our church with a road. Bottom line is they are. They've already told us it's happening. We're going into mediation to find out what they're going to give us to go. They're taking 9 acres. They're going through this building, through that building, the whole entrance, all of that will be gone. And then we'll just have what we have over here. And we're trying to figure out, we're scrambling. We're trying to get a contractor to figure out how to build it. We're trying to do it all. And he said, this is what happens. We set in a meeting at the beginning. Then you and I, PT and I, and our lawyers go in one room. The city road goes in another room. They bring somebody in and they say, this is what we'll offer you. We say, no, that's not enough. And they go back. We sit for 45 minutes at least and wait. They come back. We do it again. We do it again. We do it. And I'm just like, and I told PT, I said, I'm telling you, I have this peace that if we will pray for God's favor, I believe that this person's going to walk in and go, I don't know why I'm doing this, and I don't know why I'm offering you this, but I'm just going to tell you, we will offer you this. I believe it with everything in me, but I'm asking you guys to pray for favor when we walk in this meeting because we want the peace of God. He just said, if you feel like you need to speak, I'm like, ooh, no, I don't need to speak. I'm just going to sit there. But he said, I'm just claiming the peace of God. I'm just telling you the peace of God is going to be on us. God's favor is going to be on us. And these people at this county are not going to go, what they hit. What in the world is going on with these people? Because there's a calmness on them and God is doing something. He called us to this place 13 years ago for a reason. Not for the county to come in and then we can't have church. I don't care if we have a tent out here. We've done it before. In the name of Jesus, we're going to have a church. But God can do what man cannot do. And I told Tim, I said, we need to walk in with a peace that blows their mind. They don't know what to do with it. Even our lawyer, I'm not even sure. I don't know if he's a believer. I have no idea. We met with him last week, and he said, I've told you from day one when I have walked on this property, I have never felt such peace in my life. And he says, I love this place, and I am going to fight for you with everything in me. And I'm thinking, this is awesome, because it's a human that's going to fight, but I got a God who's going to fight even more through this human. And I'm telling you, it's going to be crazy. God's going to do something. Pray for me. I'm not supposed to show emotion. Just pray for me, because the first thing they're going to do is show pictures of what they're doing to the land and how they're flattening everything, and they're bringing a 25-foot overpass right there and right through here. And I'm just like, but this is my thing. We either trust him or we don't. I don't know where you're walking right now, but you either trust him or you don't. Bottom line, that's the only choice you got. Trust him or you don't. God brought us here. He's got you here today. You're in this building. PT and I were walking today, and I looked at him and I said, that's not going to be there much longer. And it's riveting in a way to think about, because we've worked hard for this. But I know God, and he can do bigger and better and crazy. I mean, I don't know if you were here this Sunday, but you couldn't find a seat on all 3 services in this church. That's a God thing. So I don't know what God's doing. What is my point on all of it? We get to walk in this peace. And it is a choice for sure in Mama G's mind. I'm going to walk in peace. I'm walking in that. PT looked at him and said, well, how are you going to be dressed? He said, well, I'm going to be in a suit. You can wear whatever because you're the owner of the building or whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm going to come in. We're going to rock your world. We're going to look so professional, and we're going to look so we got ourselves together that you're not going to believe it. The first time we ever had a meeting, it was actually, was it after COVID? Before? I don't remember. This has been going on for so long. We go in this meeting, and they say, now, they're coming in to show what they're going to do to the land, and they're bringing in the head commissioner lady, and she is like she's something else. And I'm like, oh, great. And he said, show no emotion. I'm sitting here, PT's sitting there, and the lady, there's somebody else, and no, excuse me, PT's beside me here, and there's a lady right there, and she's the commissioner lady. And every time they would show, now just so you're aware, Pastor, they would say that to us, Pastor, so you're aware, we're getting ready to completely demolish. It will go through your building and demolish it. I would squeeze PT's hand, and I would look straight ahead, and the lady would look. She'd look at me. I'd be like, Jesus. I just kept looking straight. And then they'd say, and then when they come through, they may even mess up your lake, and there may not be an entrance. And they just kept throwing it out there. She'd look over at me. I just kept squeezing his hand. And finally, it was over. They got up, and we just sat there, and they left. And the lawyer goes, oh, my gosh, you guys are amazing. You showed nothing. I said, yeah, check his hand. He can't even more. His hand is dying. I squeezed the mess out of his hand because I'm not supposed to show emotion. Anyway, peace of God. Peace of God. Thank God, right? That woman didn't know what she was up against. They said, if you come in here and you're like, you just don't understand. We just want to tell people that Jesus loves them. And you start crumbling, and they're like, oh, we got them right where we need them. He said, you can't be that way. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Well, sometimes you got to be that way in life. You got to be that straightforward, like, okay, sorry. No, let me see. Where am I? Okay, hold up. I'm totally off key. Oh, okay. So you need to write this down. This is very important. Number one, God's peace is way outside your ability to control things. Oh, I'm so sorry. God's peace is way outside of your ability to control things. All my little control fanatics, I love you. Number two, reset your mind when you lose sight. Reset your mind when you lose sight. You're going to love this one. Is everybody okay right now? Number three, enter his presence instead of your scenario. Enter his presence instead of your scenario. Whatever that is you've created, enter his presence. Number four, speak peace. We have a choice of what we speak. Speak peace. Speak peace. I'm going to end in this story. Once there was a king who offered to give a prize to an artist who could best paint a depiction of peace. Many artists decided to participate and sent the king their masterpieces. Among the various masterpieces, one picture was of a calm lake closely resembling peacefully towering snow-capped mountains where blue sky with fluffy clouds were overhead. The picture was extraordinary. Most of those who viewed the painting of the piece from different artists thought that this painting was the best among them all. But the king had another winner in mind. To the crowd's surprise, the picture that won was of a mountain too, but was more plain and rugged than the other piece. The sky was shady and looked angry because there was lightning. It was exactly the opposite of what peace should look like. The others thought that maybe the artist submitted a wrong painting, showing a storm rather than peace. What others didn't notice was that if you look closely at the painting, there is a tiny bush growing in the cracks of a rock. In the bush, there is a nest built by a mother bird, and in the midst of the stormy weather, the bird sits peacefully on her nest. In that specific portrait, it was depicted that in the presence of all turmoil, there is still a present God who brings calm in the storm and brings peace in the questions. Is that huge? God's peace. It's free. It's offered. You know, when PT did his sermon on a peacemaker, it's such an important thing that we do bring peace. I will tell you, I have been raised to be a peacemaker. I will do at all costs to bring peace. I don't want conflict, and don't ask me to confront you. I just want to have peace. There's a place where you have to be both. But the fact that we can walk in his peace is a pretty phenomenal thing. And I think that the more we walk in peace, the more God uses us. Lately, PT and I have just been, wherever we go, we're just asking God to use us, wherever we go. Every restaurant, whatever we do. And we were at a restaurant the other day, and we go to it a lot, and one of the girls looked at me, and she goes, I don't usually ask people this, but could I have your phone number? Would you be willing for me to text you? Like, what you say to me is amazing, and you, speak into me, and, who are you people? And I said, yeah, and the other girl knew us and already had our number. She goes, is there anyone at this restaurant that doesn't have your number? And I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. And so when we came in the other night, she looked at the guy and she goes, see, that's the couple. He goes, oh, yeah, the peace couple. Yeah, the happy couple. Yeah, that's them. And it's not because I've ever said the word Jesus. It's just because we just walk in that peace. You know, you've heard me say over, and many of you have heard me talk about all of the GOES working in the inner city with these incredible people at these at-risk communities. It's hard for me because I wish we were still doing that, because I could just see all of us like loving on these kids and everything that we did. It was really an amazing, we did it every Saturday. And then when I had every Wednesday night, Jennifer was a part of that. We had our girl talk where we would bring the ladies in, and it was phenomenal. But the one lady I've told you about before, Mama May, she was 80, I don't know, maybe like 81 or something, just the sweetest thing. We always joke because her wig was never on right. We always had to turn it for her and get it on right. But when we would bring her to our session like we would do here, and it was in a smaller room, and we had couches that we would sit, couches and chairs, and it had a table in the middle, and I would bring food with a white tablecloth because they never experienced anything like that. And so every week I would go buy the food, and we would talk a little bit, and then I would start to teach. And I was teaching these ladies about being a woman of an integrity and honor, because a lot of these moms would teach their kids to go steal, or say when we would do a giveaway, they go get 2 more backpacks, or go get 5 more hot dogs, go steal it, go do whatever. And so I knew that I realized I needed to teach the moms, because we're teaching the kids and they're going back to the mom that's telling them to go steal. And so PT's like, you need to work with the moms. And so anyway, I would start teaching, and I would look over, and we always had a special chair for Mama May. And Mama May would just be, and her little wig would be twisted, and her eyes, and she'd just be out cold. And then when I was finished, the ladies would clap, and she'd go, oh, that was so good. And I'd say, Mama May, you're so sweet. But see, she slept because there was peace. Where she lives, she has 7 locks on her door. She never knew every day what was going to happen. All she heard was gunshots and violence all the time. And her kids, she had 8 kids, they never took care of her. And so there she is. There's Mama May and Bree. Bree loved her dearly. It was like so special. We brought her to our house, and we have a pool, and in the back we had a little gazebo. And so we were supposed to take her to go to dinner. So we took her out and we set her back in the gazebo, and she sat back there. And so Bree went and sat with her, and Blake and PT and I were in the house. I was doing something. I said, okay, it's time. We need to take Mama May to eat. And we walked out, and I said, it's time to go. And she goes, go where? She goes, why would I go anywhere? She said, can I just sit here? And she sat there for 4 hours. She never moved. I brought her food. Because there's something that peace does in your life. And it was God's peace that she was completely taking in. She didn't have a peaceful life. And truthfully, she had not a lot to be grateful for. She was the most grateful woman I've ever known in my life. But Mama May knew the importance. You know the importance of peace when you don't have it. And then when you get to experience it, you embrace it. So I think what I want to say is, don't take for granted. My peace I give you. And walk in that peace. And I promise you, it'll be one of your greatest testimonies that you have. You will have people saying to you, I don't know what's on about you, what's different about you, but there's something about you, and you would have never said a word. And it's because there's God's peace and joy walking in your life, and he'll use it. I promise you he'll use it for his good and for his glory. Okay, amen. Is everybody okay? Are you good? Do you like God's fruit basket? You got to understand, God put this basket together for us for a reason. And we've already talked on love and joy, walking in love, walking in joy. If you haven't seen those, they're on YouTube. You can go back. This one will be put up in a couple days, and then you can go back there. You can share them. But there's a reason that God calls it the fruit of his Spirit, because his Spirit is living and walking in us if we allow him to, and there's fruit. And I say this all the time. I say it to all my youngins and even my ones that aren't young. They're looking for a man. Just do me a favor and check the fruit. Check the fruit. That's why God calls it the fruit, because the fruit says where you're walking. Fruit says how your life is. And it's either some good fruit or some bad fruit. So make sure you check the fruit, right? Amen. All the people you're associating with, check their fruit. Make sure, people always growing up, for us, with our kids, we traveled every weekend, and they wanted their kids to be around our kids. Well, I'm like, I don't blame you, because we've worked our tail off to get our kids to be incredible, young, godly man and woman here. And they can our kids hang with you? And it'd take me about 5 minutes, and I go, well, I don't know about that. Because this is the thing. Yeah, you can be a light, but you got to be careful because after a while, that darkness, we're seeing it with kids. Forgive me, if you get mad at me, don't get mad at me. You do whatever you want. But I'm watching these kids go to college, and they come back, and nobody knows who they are. It's okay to go to college, but boy, you better be strong, because the whole darkness is trying to take out the light. I know the light is strong, but you got to be careful who you are around and associate with. People called us crazy people because we homeschool our kids, and I'm like, you can say whatever you want. I was telling Sarah about this, and then we're ending. Our kids had never walked into school. They'd never been in a high school, junior high, nothing, ever. And about 5 years ago, we had a young man that had come here every year for our conference, a baseball player, and he was being signed with a really big team, and they were doing it at a high school up in Jacksonville. And they said, would you come? Well, when we got there, school was still kind of going on. It hadn't let out yet. So we're walking in this school, and you should have seen our kids. They were like, they're looking around. They'd never walked into school. They're looking around, and Bree, she's looking at these young girls who are trying to prove something, she can tell, and the way they were dressed, and then the guys were this, and she just watched it for about 45 minutes. We got in the car, and they looked at us and said, thank you. Thank you. I didn't need that. I'm so grateful I wasn't exposed to that. Our kids were true 11-year-olds, true 12-year-olds. They didn't know what 12-year-olds know now. Oh, it scares me. They know more than I do, and I'm 64. I'm like, oh, my gosh, you scare the mess out of me. I'm not saying, please, your kids are in school. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it was amazing to watch what they saw when they went in, because of what they had not been exposed to. Now, people always used to say, I will say this, the first homeschool convention I went to, the one guy got up and he goes, well, I'm here to talk. He said, our kids are homeschooled. And he said, and they told me to talk on socialization. And he said, I will never forget, somebody looked at me and said, now, what are you in charge of at your home? And he said, I'm in charge of teaching our kids what it would be like to be socialize with kids. And they said, okay, well, so what do you do? Literally, this guy says this from stage. I wait for my kids to get into the bathroom, and I bam on the door, and I tell them, get out, and I beat them up and tell them I want your money now. And I was like, he goes, is that the socializing I want for my kids? Like, no. Our kids probably have greater friends than because whatever. Anyway, what's my whole point? I don't even know what my point is. My point is this. You will recognize peace, and you will recognize when there's not peace. And you want to make sure you're around the peace and you bring the peace, and you're very adamant about your children being around peace and understanding peace. Can I get an amen? Don't get mad at me. Don't send me an email. I'm sorry. That wasn't anything political. That wasn't anything. Whatever. Trust me, homeschool's not easy, right? But thank God for Ruth Ann, because I remember calling her going, I'm trying to run the ministry and homeschool these kids, and I'm not doing a very good job. So she came and took over. So thank God for that. Anyway, is everybody good? Are you excited? Are you know that you've got this peace? We're going to walk in peace, right? So, but we're going to pray in a little bit. But if there's anyone that just wants to share, maybe even something that happened this week or something where you're going, oh my gosh, I so needed this. I needed a reminder of God's peace, whatever that is. We have a mic, and it's not any right or wrong answer. Please don't tell Mama G that you're shy, because that's what I tried on PT and it doesn't work. So you're not shy. That's not a word. That's a label. You just don't feel comfortable sharing. But you should feel comfortable sharing, because we need to hear from you and what you have to say, right? And can I just say how cool it is? We got Izzy here on the front row, 10 years old. And I watch her the whole time. She's writing, and she looks at her mom's notes to make sure she doesn't miss anything. She has a whole journal, ladies. And she's writing. Whoa, what I wish I would have been at 10 years old, sitting in something. Amen? Is that not crazy? I'm so proud of you. Yes, our little leader. It's so awesome. So is anyone, Tigger's got a mic. Does anyone, thank you, Tigger, by the way. Yes, Miss Joanne up here.